What's up, everybody? It's me. It's your boy. This is what you've been waiting for. You've been waiting all week. You've been waiting years even. There's probably a waiting list for people trying to see this video. I am completely aware of that, alright? But I'm here now, alright? No more babies crying. No more storms. No more anything. The bag man is here, alright? So let's get to it, alright? So what do I want to talk to you guys today about, alright? I want to talk to you about why myself decided to move to Boston. Of all places, Boston, Massachusetts. Home of the Boston Celtics. Home of other Boston sports. Coming from a person from Florida who do not appreciate Boston sports. Why did I move here? Alright? So many questions need to be answered. And I'm here to vaguely answer all of those things. Alright, so as you know, if you watched the previous videos, which I hope you did, make sure you go watch them. But I moved to Boston, Massachusetts after a series of events, right? So before I started doing In My Bag, and before I decided to be this creative just mogul, I was really just a studious person. Did well in school. I did my work, alright? I came to class, showed up in the front of the class, got A's, B's, very seldom C's, I admit, alright? I did very well in school. And I also did very well in sports. Albeit, you know what I'm saying, I didn't get any college offers, but to my standard, I thought I did pretty good. Started every down in football when I played, sophomore year. And then, track and field, I got my varsity letter, you know what I'm saying? I was good. And then, after college, I graduated, was working, pandemic happened, changed everything. I had to change my name. I'm gonna pretend you didn't hear that, right? Anyways, so many things changed, but I decided, you know what? Through it all, I'm gonna do what I like, right? And, I always kind of like doing something creative, whether it be music or, visualizing. I used to doodle a lot. I never really took drawing seriously, but, having that visual, animated mind, come to fruition. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do In My Bag. If you watch the previous video, it kind of explains a little bit more, all right? But, where I was, if anyone knows anything about good old Port St. Lucie, Florida, you know that it is a very well mannered city, not much traffic, perfect for middle income single families or retirees. It's really a nice place, not too far from the beach. You're only an hour and a half away from Miami, hour and a half away from Orlando. Crime is relatively low for its size, but it is a city that is for people that are settling down in life, which is not a bad thing. I'm not a person to say this is a bad thing, alright? But what I am saying is that people who are recently graduated, looking to do events, maybe a nightlife, scenery, or, trying to mingle with other people, network, I do not recommend Port St. Lucie. Not even in the slightest. Now, it's probably going to be that, it's the second fastest growing city in the whole United States, somewhere around there. So it might eventually turn out to be that way. And there is a scene developing there because it's growing so quickly. But as it remains, it's not really the place to be to do something creative. And I'll tell you with just my experience. So to start off In My Bag, I had the fashion show. Boom. Crazy success. People came through. Success in my eyes. People came through and they were so supportive of me. They're like, yeah. Woo, woo, woo. Go OV, right? They was doing all that, right? Ripping their shirt, a tattoo that says Go OV, right? I didn't need that. I'm glad they did. But then I was like, I gotta keep the ball rolling. You know what I'm saying? Met other people. I got invited to speaking engagements in the area. I even got invited to a school, just doing In My Bag related stuff, whether it be comedy, showing the films, or just talking about what Shaw Republic means, right? And then it was going, pandemic happened, still going, believe it or not. And then around 2021, I was like, you know what, let me really integrate myself into, you know, different communities. I tried driving to like Delray Beach, to the Milagro Center, and say like, hey, yo, it's your boy the Bagman. Yo, you never heard of the Bagman? Something wrong with you. And they was like, yes, there is something wrong with us. They admitted, as everyone should. Showed them the movie. They was like, bro, man, you gotta come back, all right? And then I went to other boys and girls clubs, and I was trying to really ingrain myself and partner with nonprofit organizations that had my target audience so I can run my programs. And got into a car accident. No, don't cry. I'm here. I'm just firing a little bit. My shoulder's a little off, but you know, I got insurance. So I got into a car accident. I'm like, man, you know, but I just got another car. I had a settlement, got another car, and this car, I was whipping it, man. I was going everywhere, good on mileage, and then 11 months later, got into another car accident. Now, the car that I had this time with the settlement was a really, well, I can't say it's a bad car. I had it for some years. It still exists. And it brought me to places that I needed to go within, let's say, a 25-mile radius. However, anything past 25 miles, couldn't go at all. And I'm like, yo, what am I going to do? I can't travel. And if you know anything about suburbia in the United States, they're not very friendly to people who don't have cars. And there's not really a good transit system in St. Lucie County that allows me to move around. And I couldn't really hop on the highway and go excess of like 70 miles an hour without my car backfiring. All right. You know, there's probably people good on cars like, oh, you need to do this, you need this. I'm like, I tried everything. Nothing worked. And so I was like, dog, what do I do? And I still tried to ingrain myself within the community that I was in. But as most nonprofit owners know, is that one, you can't do everything yourself. There becomes a point in time where you're going to need other people. And two, your time as the founder, you know, becomes more valuable because you need to motion different things to happen, whether it is calling people, even going beyond your own scope as the president, but like making videos and doing that. And all the while I still had a full-time job. And I'm like, well, I just can't keep up with it to the demand. And so I could have done two things. I could have just stuck around and just, you know, with the limited resources that I have and the limited people, and just, you know, done my in my bag stuff. And the other option was just, you know, just stop. If I wasn't enjoying it, just stop. And I did the second thing. I think a lot of people experience that as well. They just stop. They're like, dog, I'm doing so much. I was staying up till like 5 in the morning, you know, whether it be doing a musical engagement or, you know, chopping it up with somebody, doing all those things. And I could not keep up with the management. That could be largely with my own time management issues or whatever it may be. And, you know, with being proactive and meeting different people and writing programs, it was two things. A lot of people didn't want to ingrain me with their programs with any scale, whether it's a small scale or a big scale. And even still, like, my car had issues, so I just couldn't keep up with like having a bad car and then maybe depending on people to drive me places. I just became very overwhelmed with the circumstance that I was in. I really put a slow down. Now, how does this relate to Baston? I knew one thing's for sure. I have really good mentors in my life, and there's like, dude, Ovi, you cannot stop. You can't stop doing these things. And I'm like, you're right. I can't stop. Won't stop. All right. I probably shouldn't make that reference considering all his issues. But anyways, I'm like, I can't stop. And I was like, you know what? What is a place that can offer or that has the things that I would need to do a nonprofit? And the answer is anywhere. However, I do think there's areas that are more palatable and marketable to people who do the things that I do. Right? And the things that I like. So then I started shopping. I'm like, where in the United States is it A, walkable, B, artist friendly, and really those two things. A walkable, artist friendly, and, you know, just a happening place. And really, all the major cities in the United States, well, not all of them are walkable. All of them are, you know, have some type of scene that's artistic. However, the walkability aspect of Boston was the #1 selling point. I visited Boston 3 separate occasions. Before I went there, I visited Philadelphia, Pennsylvania numerous times, or a couple times, not numerous times. I love Philly. Philly is dope. I had Geno's Philly cheesesteak. It was delicious. Walked around. I'm like, dog, this is like my vibe. I like it. I visited New York City 3 different times. Every single time, I'm like, bro, this is the concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do now that you're in New York. Literally, I was thinking about that, right? That's a completely original thought that I had, right? And then my friend, and I thought he was living in Rhode Island. He was like, I don't live in no Rhode Island. I live in Beantown. I'm like, Beantown? What are you talking about, man? You talking about, you know, food delicacies, man? Tell me. I mean, you gotta be more clear. He was like, Boston, Massachusetts. I'm like, never really heard much other than their teams going against my teams, but I'm gonna go there. I go there the first time, immediately sold. First of all, I love to walk. All right, last year I think I averaged 12,000 steps, or 10,777 steps, I recall. And I'm like, dog, I've been walking all day. I love it. Walking. He showed me some of the food spots, dope. And he showed me like some of the, you know, I like the street art. I'm not gonna lie, you know. I was really feeling it, right? And I was like, because I left and I went back home. I'm like, I don't feel like that's all of Boston. So I went for myself. And this was a big thing. I went for like 2 weeks. Stayed at a studio apartment. Stayed for 2 weeks, and I went to go see Boston for myself. For myself. I go left and right. I'm walking down. I see mans over there. I see the buildings. I eat the food, right? I see the sky. I'm like, okay, this is the city I need to either visit a lot or stay, right? And like I said, it was just like Boston had so many things going for itself. You know, back at home, they always said like, oh, Boston, why do you want to go to Boston? It's not diverse. There's nothing happening over there. You know, the city's lame. That's what they say. This is what they say about Boston people, all right? I don't know. It's not me. I'm just a parrot, all right? And so I'm like, yo, what? And then, but the thing that sold it for me was, one, the diversity, right? I'm a person, I like learning from other people because everyone has something about them, right? Something that they can share to other people. And I'm just so curious, you know, having traveled to 6 different countries before, I just seen different like cultural perspectives on things. In like Boston and a lot of the cities in Northeast and, you know, including Chicago and other major hubs in the United States, they have that, and I'm enamored by that. So number 1 was the diversity. 2, the walkability. You could seriously walk within Boston proper. You could comfortably walk, I can say, 65% of the city. The transit system, especially now, people have their complaints about like, you know, the transit, the subway stations like being delayed, and that does happen. But truth be told, if you're someone who likes walking, if you're within the downtown area, you can go to like half the towns, right? It's not impossible. Now, once you start going to like West Roxbury, Hyde Park, like Roslindale, I'm probably saying that wrong. I just moved here. You know, you would probably need like maybe a car or, you know, a good way of getting there. But there's tons of buses too. People don't mention like the bus systems are actually pretty good. And yeah, the transit system was definitely something that helped. 3, there's a lot of young people. There's like so many universities in the area. You know, you got Harvard, you got MIT, you got Boston University, you got Boston College, you got Suffolk University, and you got a lot of other community colleges and other universities that are either in Boston or surrounding areas. So I'm like, dog, this is definitely cool, you know? Port St. Lucie does have young people, but it used to be a retirement place. So there's like retirement communities. No offense to the old people, you know what I'm saying? I love my old people, but I'm just like, dog, I want to see people my own age. There's beautiful people here. Don't get me started, right? But, you know, that's more vanity. There's just scenes for artists, like artistic people, right? And you can be an artist everywhere, but sometimes a good hub of people is definitely helpful, you know? I went to, I think it's called Daryl's Bar in Roxbury, and they had like a live jazz session. And like, yeah, that's kind of normal, But really, there's not many of that happening where I was from. And I'm like, man. And then I went to District 7 Tavern in Roxbury again. And again, another live jazz session. I remember I went to the Seaport Market, the winter market. Amazing. So many things happening. And it's just like anything that you're really interested in, there is something going on in Boston or surrounding areas. And that's just Boston, right? Like I said, surrounding areas. You got Cambridge, they got things going on too over there. I just met a lady, her name was Just Jill, and she runs like ciphers in Cambridge. I'm like, they got these collegiate people, rapping. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's cool. Somerville, Chelsea. You got I went to Watertown. I went to there's a lot going on. And I'm like, you know what? At first, before I decided to I'm gonna move, I was really it was a big jump. You're talking from Florida to Massachusetts. And by the way, I drove, which was crazy. But I'm like, dang, I'm gonna drop everything and move over there. What about work? I don't do nonprofit full time. How am I gonna get money? How am I gonna do this? And the truth is, the money situation, everyone always wants more money than what they have, sure, to have the lifestyle that they want. Completely understandable. But also, I just think when it comes to work, people identify with what they work as. And so they're like, no, I'm not going to go to a place unless I'm working that job that I really want. And I'm like, maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. But I do have a job. So I applied, got a job, and I'm like, yo, I'm going to go. And I'm not going to think twice. And it was very sad leaving my house. I'm not a crier. I don't cry. Just leaving my house, I cried 3 times. And I don't, you can ask anyone very close to me, I do not cry. As a kid I did, but something told me boy, you need to stop crying. So, but driving all the way here, I couldn't stop crying. But once I got here, honestly, I haven't felt homesick at all. The only thing that made me feel homesick was the weather. The weather is not fun. It's not cool. I don't like it. I've been here for a couple months. I think it hit 60 degrees no times. Maybe 58, but not 60. That's insane. Florida, people who are in Florida, they know it's on any given day, it can touch 80. Even in the winter, January, February, there will be a day it'll touch 80 or 90 degrees. But here, it is cold 6 months out of the year. And I'm talking cold, 30 degrees. It's March right now, and it's going to be 20 degrees a couple days. Why? I don't know why the sky does that. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, even this past week, so what did I do? I went to the Frugal bookstore that's also in Roxbury. So I got invited to this bookstore. I went there, and I mentioned her earlier, Just Jill. She was hosting it, talking about how she runs ciphers in Cambridge. And, she's basically documenting the experience of being a woman in hip-hop and doing this at the scale that she's doing, and hosting events where women feel empowered and free and have a safe space to express their artistry, right? Which is really close to Sean Republic, I'm just saying. But yeah, I'm like, yo, that's so cool. And so we held a discussion. She was the host of the evening. And in that discussion, and the people that were there were other artists. And they do their own thing. A lot of them were musical, but just literally what they're wearing. This girl had a bubble coat that was pearl. I don't know, opal color. I don't know the name of that. But it was green and purple at the same time. She had a purse that was a Polaroid picture, but it really wasn't. It was just a purse. She just looked cool, right? And there was another girl. She was a producer. She makes beats. 2 of them make beats, and I seen the beats they're making. I'm like, dog, they do it for real. A couple MCs. The bookstore owners, they were real hip hop heads. They knew everything about 90s and 80s hip hop. And it just it felt like I was in a storybook. It's a small club I just entered in, and people all have the thing that they really like their superpower. And so I came through. Everyone thought I was cool. I thought they were cool, and it was yo, we gotta meet up again. I'm like, we will meet up again. That will happen, right? And so yeah, that was just this past week, and now I got something else going on. and there's just always something happening in Boston. And I think people who say otherwise, I'm like, you really gotta tap in, and it's not hard to. They're actually looking for people to like do stuff, and I'm like, if you're that type of person to be active and you're creative, or whether you're a professional, there are tons of professional groups happening here. I go to cybersecurity events, and it's the same thing. They're just looking for people to like be a part of what they got going on. So I can't guarantee you your professional job that you'll get. That comes with, you know, whatever comes with being a professional in that career. But if you are just an active person, the world here is really abundant. And I really like Boston. There's so many other things I can say about why I chose here, but generally those are those things. And I really recommend anybody who's artistic to come through and check out like art shows. I've been to 2 of them. You know, the music scene is really popping, but just to really experience it. And yeah, that's why I moved to Boston. And hopefully on this channel I could share more footage of like my time and what I'm doing. That will come, you know, just starting this out, right? But in the meantime, I just want you guys to get in your bag. Peace.